Dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum and adab. This is Tozammel Hoque, Instructor General SAPTI. Hope you are well. I am also great by the mercy of Almighty Allah. Today, I am going to share with you a new video in English. Though I am not teacher in English, I am not a language trainer. I am a math trainer, I teach mathematics and I also made many videos in mathematics. I also uploaded in YouTube and other media. But this is my first video in English. So I will make a lot of mistakes. So at first, apologies for my mistakes. No more talks, excess. Now let's start my videos. Dear viewers, today's topic, how to learn anything fast. This is very important topic. We all like to know anything fast, but we could not it. So in this video, I will try to give some new informations, some rules, how to learn anything fast. So watch this video attentively. Okay. The good news is anyone can train their memory. Anyone can become a fast learner. Because today I am going to show you a formula of how you can learn anything and master anything in a fun, easy manner. You have to admit that successful people have committed to lifelong learning. And there is also the reason why if you learn faster, you will stand out for everyone else. If you learn faster, you can go from underpaid to overpaid. And if you learn faster, you can have an unfair advantage over others. Here you see the word teach. If you eliminate T from teach, then what will happen? And also another word you see learn. If you eliminate from teach the first letter T and eliminate from learn first letter L, then what will happen? What's each earn? Teach, learn, become each earn. That means so your learning ability decides your earning capacity. Your learning ability decides your earning capacity. This is very important. So the question is, how to not show it starts with input. First, I have to discuss about input. What is input? Now, what is input? You know what is input. But I will try to discuss about input. Go to seminar, read books, watch videos, movies, listen to podcast, follow blogs, receive informations, listen audios, and so many. These are inputs. Input, input, and input. Input is nothing but he receives some informations about others, about watching videos, about seminars, listen to podcasts, follow blogs, receive informations from others. This is input. And there are main inputs in our surroundings. Input, input, and input. So, if you go to seminar, if you listen any speech, if you read books, if you watch videos or movies, or listen podcast, or read in newspapers, these are inputs. Also text, image are input. So, input, I hope input is clear. The problem is if you have too much input with no output. I again repeat, the problem is if you have too much input with no output, then what happens? What happens is you have shallow learning. That's not good. Shallow learning is not good. But what we don't want shallow learning. We all don't want shallow learning. We want deep learning, actual learning. For example, some of your friends, you come to you and say, hey, read these books. Read this book. Then you go, yeah, what do you learn from this book? Then they go, say, good book. It's a very good book. And then you go, okay, like, and I understand what he was saying. But what's the takeaway from this book for you and say, I tell you, you must read this book. Well, what's the point of learning something if you can't implement it? What's the point of learning something if you can't implement it and benefits from this? You can't implement it and benefits from this. That is pure intellectual entertainment, nothing else. That is only pure intellectual entertainment, nothing else. So, we don't want shallow learning. We want deep learning. Deep learning is actual learning. Now, I like to discuss about deep learning. The question is, how will you do deep learning? It is very simple. The true mastery, you need to focus more on the output rather than the input. Remind it. The true mastery, you need to focus more on the output rather than the input. Now, I explain it. We learn or absorb many things from our surroundings. We read books, we watch videos, movies, newspapers, but we can't speak English. So, how to learn? How to absorb? This is the question. And after learning, what you have to do? This is the question. Learn or absorb by reading books, by watching videos, by listening anything, and etc. 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 That's my input. The first thing, of course, learn which is what do you already doing. Now the interesting thing is when you are learning, you ensure that the quality of input is really, really high. Your input is really, really high. You must be paying 100% attention. But the problem is people are learning these days. What do they do? They do multitasking because the devices that are actually holding right now, this type of devices, as for mobile phone and others devices, laptops and many others, because of the phones, that you have people do multitask. By this phone, you have people do multitask. We also, everyone do multitask at once, at a time. When we learn something, you don't use it. That means if you don't output it, you must lose it. When you learn something, if you don't use it, that means if you don't output it, you must lose it. Just imagine when you are reading a book. Just imagine when you are reading a book, just like this, watching a video, you have your phone nearby. You have your phone nearby. And while you are reading, while you are learning, while you are understanding, the phone message goes off. There's a notification goes off. What do you do? Of course, you attend to it. Attend to it. Yeah? What happened? Just to kill your momentum. Just to kill your valuable time. Just to waste your time. You messed up with the quality of input. Now, here's the thing. Your quality of input determines the quality of retention. The quality of input determines the quality of retention. How well and how long can you remember information? It also affects the quality of recall. So, my suggestion is, when you learn something, pay 100% attention. Pay 100% attention. You should be doing not multitask at a time. Don't multitask at a time. Always be doing single task. Just single task. This is the first thing. You have to remind it. Don't do multitask at a time. Just do single task and pay attention 100%. This is the first thing. Then after learning, after observing, after reading, after watching videos, what you have to do? Reflect. Now, what is reflect? The second thing is, after you learn something, pause for a while, and suppose you are watching a video, pause for a while and ask yourself, what's the takeaway from these things, and how can I use this information in my life? After you learning, after you watching, after you reading a book, or after you watching a videos, you pause sometimes and ask yourself, what's the takeaway from these things, from these videos, from these books, from these newspapers, and how can I use this in my life, in my family, in my work, in my office? When you pause, when you reflect these questions, that's how learning solidifies. Otherwise, it's all just wasted. Now the third step, implement. First learn and observe, that means input. Then reflect. Then implement. Implement is very, very important. After reflect, the next step is implement. This is where the magic happens. And unfortunately, many people miss out on this thing. What they do? They go on new things. They get excited. They feel good. They feel inspired. And they are going to learn something new. We just messed up. But the problem is, if you get into the habit of just learning without implementation, if you get into the habit of just learning without implementation, you know what you get. You get illusion of competence. What you get? You get illusion of competence. So, if you don't implement, don't apply your learning, don't reflect and apply your learning, then just stop and just waste your time. Now, the very important step. After implementing, you have to share your learning, your knowledge. This is very important. And this is the last step. Become a first learner, to learn as anything fast. Share. Sharing is the very important part of output. You have to share. You have to share your friends and family first, your colleagues, Facebook friends, Twitter friends. You can share by phone call, by chatting, comments, etc. The more you share, remember it, the more you share, the more you remember. The more you remember, the more you use, and your learning will be converted to permanent memory. I repeat again. The more you share, the more you remember. The more you remember, the more you use, and your learning will be converted to permanent memory. You understand? So, learn after learning, after observing, you have to reflect where, how can you implement in your life, in your work, in your office. Reflect your mind, reflect your brain, then implement it in your real life, in your friends, in your colleagues. Share with your colleagues, your friends, Facebook media, and this theory is very important, very, very important. So, only learn and absorb. That means listening, reading, watching videos. These are inputs. And the output, reflect, implement, and share. These three are output. So, output is bigger than input. Output is bigger than input. If input is x, then output is equal to 3x. That means you have to remember that you must learn anything and then reflect, and then implement and share. After sharing, after using your knowledge, your learning will be converted into permanent memory. Permanent memory means you will never forget it. Yeah, this is the learning theory. That means anyone become the first learner if he or she applies this theory. That means you have to remember that input is smaller than output, or output is bigger than input. If input is x, then output is 3 into x. That means reflect, implement, and sharing. These three are output. This is the magic of learning. Dear viewers, this is the end of the lesson number today. I hope this lesson is very helpful, very helpful, will be very helpful to you. This is the end of the lesson, but you can watch this video again and again and apply this theory of learning, and I hope you will be successful. Dear viewers, no more today. I hope in the coming day I will come back again with another video, another new video. Okay, so today goodbye. Allah Hafiz. Thanks for watching my video.